We are joined today by Chris Holden, former Scream Eagles goaltender. Chris, we'll start at the beginning. Born in New Jersey, playing junior in Philadelphia. How on earth did you end up playing for the Cape Breton Scream Eagles?
Funny, I thought there, Pat. So I played a couple tournaments up in Boston at Chowder Cup, and they had a scout down there at one point, and turned out my agent at the time knew him, and they invited me as a free agent to come in for a tryout. One thing led to another. I guess I stopped enough pucks, and they let me on the team.
You come in backing up Olivier Waugh, who set records as a 16-year-old, so I'm sure you knew what you were getting into there. But you did make the All-Rookie team in 2008-2009. What does a player get for making the All-Rookie team in the QMJHL?
I had a couple of interviews with the league and got a nice plaque and things like that. And Scott Guthrie, the goalie coach at the time, really congratulated me. He worked a lot with myself and Olivier and really getting us up to par, to top of our game in order to achieve the things that we did.
Now, you played a little bit the next year, too, for Cape Breton. What memories stand out in that year and a half you get to spend with the Scream Eagles?
Definitely being accepted to the All-Star team was one of them. We had a really great run in playoffs there our first year. We got to, I think, it was 7 games with Quebec. I think we went into like a double overtime game, so that was pretty insane. The energy in that building was incredible. And then, of course, playing in front of the Cape Breton fans, it's one of my absolute favorite places to play. I absolutely loved it there.
Talking about the Cape Breton fans, I remember one particular game. They used to have somebody in the crowd asking a selected fan who their favorite player was, and one of the selected kid that day said Chris Holden, and I remember you actually raising your stick up while you were playing a game and acknowledging this. What did that kind of stuff mean to you? Did you have a special relationship with the fans?
It is really special. I keep in touch with a few every now and then. I vaguely remember what you were saying, and it's funny because when somebody asks who your favorite player is, you only expect your mom to say, oh, yeah, my son or whatever. And, you have somebody else in the stands who comes and watches you every game, and they kind of give you a shout-out. It means a lot. It's pretty special. We
hear a lot about the QMJHL has difficulty attracting Americans, especially where the area they draw from is New England, or in your case, south of that, because they don't really grow up with that. Being in your part of the world, how much knowledge of the QMJHL would you have had? What hockey players would you have looked up to other than NHL guys?
CJ Brennan, he's a hometown boy for me. He played in St. John's with Luke Adam, actually, who I played with as well in Cape Breton. TJ grew up when we played together. We spent all our summers together training. And Johnny Gaudreau, who plays for Calgary now. New Jersey's not a huge hockey hotbed, but there was a lot of decent talent that came out of it. We always bounce ideas off each other on, who's going to play where, our agents, depending on where they're from. My agent felt the best thing for me was to go play Major Junior at that point in time.
And of course, you went to the USHL after playing in the Q, but you ended up back in Canada. Why did you decide to come back up north?
I absolutely loved Nova Scotia. It was a lot of fun. A couple of my teammates were playing for Acadia at the time, and I called them up and said, how do you like Acadia? How do you like the schooling there? I kind of want to move back, and said they really enjoyed it, and they had a spot for me on the team. So I decided to move back up and finish my schooling up there.
That leads me into our last question. Calling you now in Alberta, what's Chris Holden up to now? You mentioned school, work. What's on your plate?
So I'm finishing my business degree right now, and I've actually started a natural gas instrumentation company. So we're dealing with advanced technology analytics for oil and gas companies. So we're utilizing new infrastructure in order to do that right now. It's new for me, and it's pretty exciting, but it's good. I really enjoyed it so far.
Definitely sounds like an extensive use of your business degree. Thanks for joining us. The best of luck going forward.
Yeah, thanks a lot for taking the time for me.
That's former Scream Eagles goaltender Chris Holden joining us here on the broadcast. You're listening to McDonald Auto Group, Scream Eagles Hockey, 1270 CJCB.